Hi, I'm Rachel from Cougar Board, and we are so lucky to have Trevin Knell with us today for part 2 of our 3-part series. Hi, Trevin.
How's it going?
Good. So tell us a little bit about your mission and where you went.
So I served for 2 years in Montevideo. They say Uruguay, but it's Uruguay in
Okay.
English speakers, I guess. But it's such an amazing experience because I went there and everybody's like, my brother-in-laws, my dad, my friends were all saying, oh yeah, like a mission's gonna be hard. You're gonna really have to like learn how to live on your own, be super self-independent and all that. And I was like, no, I'm good. Like I had like such an ego,
I got
out of
this.
high school. Yeah. And first time I get to the MTC in Mexico, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much harder than I ever expected. The language was super hard. And I had the mindset of, yeah, I'll just learn it in the field. Like I won't study for language or anything. I'll just learn it. Still had that ego. Get done with my 6 weeks. Get out there, and I had like a little understanding of Spanish, but where like I could carry a conversation a little bit, like a broken Spanish. And I get there and they start speaking to me. And I'm like, this is not Spanish. This is so over my head.
So fast.
Yeah, I was like, this is not it. So it was pretty funny because the only word I could say was en serio, which is seriously.
Oh.
And the people across me when I was talking, they kept looking at my companion like, is he okay? Like, that's the only thing he says to us. But my mission was amazing. I met incredible people. I still have contact with them.
Yeah.
And it just taught me a lot about prayer, about hard work, and about like, no matter if you're having a tough day, there's always like stuff to learn, and there's always like little, tender mercies that you can find every single day.
Mm-hmm. So do you feel like you grew up a lot on your mission, like your parents said?
Yes, I grew up a ton.
Yeah.
I matured a ton. I kind of just grew out of that high school stage, and it really got me ready for college.
So were you recruited before your mission?
I was a pretty sought out recruit out of high school. I had a lot of, I had pretty much everybody in state recruit me, and I signed everything to California, Berkeley.
Okay.
And that year they were finishing 3rd in the Pac-12. They were really, really good. They had like one of the best recruiting classes. And as soon as I signed it, all of a sudden the coach calls me and goes, hey, I'm actually taking a job at Missouri. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Did you not want to go to Missouri?
And I did not want to go to Missouri.
Yeah.
So there's like a clause in your national letter of intent, like if the coach leaves, then you can get out of it and you can reopen your recruitment.
Okay.
So I decided to reopen it, and I started getting calls from like Washington, Texas, like really, really big schools. And I even got a text from Kansas's coach, and they're like, we'll offer you if you don't go on a mission. And I'm just sitting there like, wow. And I already told myself I was gonna go.
Yeah.
So I told my dad this, and my dad starts thinking like, oh, what should we do? And I'm like, wait, you're supposed to tell me to go. And so that was even harder because I thought my dad would be like, no, you already decided. Like, just tell them you're gonna go. If they like want you enough, they'll hold you, like they'll hold your scholarship. And so I'm like, okay, because he never said that to me. So I'm thinking. So I talked a ton to my dad, wrote a ton of pros and cons. Like I think I had like 10 papers of just different pros and cons. My dad every day is like, let's write a pros and cons list. I was like, it's gonna be the same as yesterday's.
Yeah, but let's do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But I decided to go on a mission because that's what I made my mind up before, and I'm super glad that I did make that decision before, getting recruited, because I think that would be so much harder.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, I get a call from BYU, Tim Lacombe, and he's like, hey, we'd want you on a visit. So I went there. They rolled out the red carpet. I met Jimmer. We talked to Jimmer for a while. And then Dave Rose gave me an offer. And so I committed kind of right there on the spot. I love the atmosphere, love what the BYU Rock is. And
they didn't care if you went on a mission.
And they didn't care. They wanted me to go.
Yeah.
So it worked out for everybody involved.
What was it like to meet Jimmer?
Jimmer's a great dude.
Yeah.
You growing up, you think like he's so up there, right?
Yeah, he's a celebrity.
Yeah, like he's just somebody you can't even touch. And you get there, and I'm taller than him. And I'm like, what is going on? Like I expect you like all the way up here, but he's such a down to earth dude.
Yeah. He
comes to practices all the time. Like it was super cool. He came to practice the other day with some of his like nieces and nephews, and he's like, hey, could I take a picture with them with you, Trev. And I'm like, are you sure you don't want to be in it?
That's adorable.
And so he's such a down-to-earth dude, such a hard-working dude, and it's been great to kind of grow a relationship with Jimmer.
Yeah. So, because you grew up in Salt Lake, were you a big BYU fan growing up? Or
I
not
was.
really?
So my dad went to Utah for 2 years, and so I grew up as a Utah fan.
Okay.
But when Jimmer Mania happened, when Jimmer was going crazy,
Yeah.
I was like, I kind of like watching BYU so much more.
Yeah.
You know, because Utah was just not as competitive as BYU was.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started watching BYU all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching Jimmer, and I'm like, hey, how can I become this guy?
Yeah.
Because he shoots the ball really well. That's kind of what I do. Like, how can I mold my game kind of after that? And so I started becoming a huge BYU fan.
Mm-hmm.
And all my friends that wanted me to play college, they were all BYU guys.
Yeah.
So like, come on, Trev, like, it'd be so cool to watch you.
Yeah.
And so it was such a fun experience to be recruited like that.
So did Jimmer give you any tips?
He just told me about working hard, and it doesn't matter, like all the seniors my freshman year also gave me the same tip about, like, not any game defines you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can have the worst game ever. That doesn't define you as a person, doesn't define you as a player, because the next game you could have the best game you've ever played.
Yeah, you have to let it go.
Exactly, and kind of have that next shot mentality, and that helped me to calm down a ton. I know Tyler Hawes has also been somebody that's kind of helped me a ton. Me and him have been texting. He's going to send me some of his workout stuff so I can start, having a huge breakout summer to prepare for the Big 12. So he's going to send me some of his, shooting routines that are
exciting.
super rigorous, but they're going to be super helpful.
So tell us about your rotator cuff injury.
The rotator cuff injury was something that really was a huge setback because all last year I played on a torn shoulder. Like, the very first game I felt it, and it just got worse the whole year.
Did you tell anybody?
No one really knew. Like,
Okay.
Our athletic trainer kind of knew I had an injury, but he's like, we could go check it out, but then you could have an issue of not playing the rest of the year because of your injury.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just taking some ibuprofen, probably more than I should have, trying to mask the pain.
Yeah.
And then once the season ended, I got it checked out, and they saw that it was completely torn. And so the process of just trying to get back was super hard. And I went to a ton of physical therapy. Coach Shork and Coach Robinson, Coach Cahill, and Rob Ramos, our athletic trainer, they've been so amazing with me, just trying to get my body back. Like, I feel like I'm in the best shape I've ever been since I've been at BYU.
Oh, good.
So now it's just trying to get back into basketball and get more familiar with the identity of the team and stuff. But I feel really confident, and I feel like I'm shooting the ball better than I have in past years.
So how are you feeling about the team?
The team's great. The team is doing amazing stuff. We've definitely had some games that were huge learning and a huge learning curve. But I feel like we've had some great wins that were huge stepping stones for our season. Mm-hmm. And we have a huge game this Thursday, so tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I feel like we can compete with the Zags. The Zags are a great team. They're really well coached, but they just don't have the rim protection without Chet as previous years. So I feel like it's going to be a great game. They're an amazing team, like I said, but I'm banking on the Cougs.
Mm-hmm. We are too. Well, Trevin, thank you so much for being here with us for part 2, and we'll see you again in part 3.
Perfect.
Thank you for watching this interview. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss the other 2 parts of this interview, plus all of our other interviews we do with BYU athletes. We also like to give a special thanks to our Cougar Board insiders for making this possible.